To become a Christian is life-changing. To come to the realization that there is actually a God who loves us and that he sent his son to die for us despite us being sinners is powerful. And when we understand this, there's a moment of clarity where we begin to understand the purpose of our lives. And there's also a moment of passion when we want to learn more about the God who loves us and follow him the best that we can. However, as thrilling and exciting as it is to become a Christian, it doesn't come without its fair share of struggles and dangers. You see, Satan can't stand it when people become a Christian because they become threats against his grip on people. Because new believers now have the power of the living God dwelling within them, Satan, in an effort to protect his influence in this world, will target new followers of God, and he'll do everything in his power to either destroy, stunt, diminish, or taint the faith of a newborn believer. So whether you're a new follower of Christ or know someone who recently became one, here are 5 steps that every new believer must follow in order for them to grow properly and to be protected from spiritual threats. Or in other words, this is how someone becomes a Christian or a follower of Jesus Christ. Step number 1, respond to the gospel. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1-5. Moreover, brethren, I declare to you the gospel which I preached to you, which also you received and in which you stand, by which also you are saved, if you hold fast that word which I preached to you, unless you believed in vain. For I delivered to you first of all that which I also received, that Christ died for our sins, according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the 3rd day, according to the Scriptures, and that he was seen by Cephas, and then by the 12. In this passage, Paul declares the gospel, or the good news, by which we are saved. And then he lists the 4 components of the gospel: that Christ died for our sins, that he was buried, rose again, and was seen. So if you want to become a Christian, you need to respond to this gospel and believe that Jesus died for you and your sin. Simply put, this is the gospel message. God is a holy God, and because he is completely holy, he must judge all sin. And Romans 3:23 and 6:23 tells us that we're all sinners, and the punishment for our sin is death and hell. Why hell? Because hell is the second death according to Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. And because a holy God cannot dwell with sin and all that's unholy, we as sinners must go there. But Jesus, God's Son, died and took our punishment upon himself. And now in Romans 5:1, it tells us that when we have faith and believe that Jesus died for us and our sin, we are justified or declared righteous. So that means that even though I'm an imperfect sinner, I can now go to heaven and dwell with God